Good evening or good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Well, today is kind of more or less the same of usual. And a really big thing I would like to talk about is more so woeful dissolution. And what I mean by that is the concept of ignorance is bliss, yet we've conducted society into wishing for willful ignorance. And we'll get into that in a minute. Oh, no. So, like always, let's get our feet planted, okay? Plant our feet. Deep breaths. And happy thoughts. So, in this grounding, picture yourself as the roots of a mighty tree. And let those roots grow from the bottom of your feet into the earth. Make yourself a tree whose roots are connected to the nature of Gaia. We're doing deep breaths today. Deep breaths to muddle out the unnecessary weight, the unnecessary stress, the unnecessary tension. And with each of those deep breaths, exhale past that energy to those roots. Let them extend deep into the earth, deep into the soil. Extend down and out from your being. And each time we breathe deeply, those roots grow deeper. And remember, the deeper your roots, the higher your tree may climb. With each breath, allow yourself to grow deeper into the energy of the world, deeper into the feelings of earth, higher into the sky, more lush, fruity of nature's bounty. Deep breaths, folks. Every deep breath, let that natural strength, that natural energy, that natural being heal you, allowing you to grow. Plant that seed of light, and with every deep breath, make it stronger. As we've planted that seed, grown our roots, sprouted high to the heavens, come back center, embraced with that light, that love, and that peace. Alright, folks. Some good stuff. So, talking about the heaviness and that stress and that tension. It becomes really prevalent, in my eyes at least, that we are surrounded by a society that is quick to place blame, to accuse, and to ostracize without any kind of true claim to their words. And I say this because it is truly obvious on social media, especially with fingers being pointed, constant bickering of he said, she said, and the furtherance of taking for granted a grain of salt worth of information and considering it all the information that is required to have an opinion. Now, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I myself am pretty opinionated. However, when I look at the flamboyant misuse of opinions, it is almost comical to me because there's no research, there's no backing, there's only argumentative perspective. And in the basis of logic, you cannot even validate your own argument, whether it's true or not. Your argument is false. And just in logic's sake, all you need is validity. You don't necessarily need truth yet. To have valid substance to any argument or any opinion, one should at least be educated on the argument or the opinion. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It really is. So the reason why I really speak on this is because we are no longer in a time of modern technology, society, culture that allows for blissful ignorance. And what I mean by that is, like, let's just go back in time to medieval times, when, say, the Dark Ages, after those who were practitioners of alchemy and science were killed off mostly, kings ruled, and there was mass war, famine, plague, just all kinds of bad juju going on. Well, the common person, meaning the farmer, there was a caste system, right? So the low tier of that caste system was not influential on politics, was not influential on religion or science. Merely they existed for survival and complacency. I do not say this to belittle any culture or anything like that. The reason why I say it is because what caused these people have to throw out opinion about something that literally was outside of their control? Meaning, like, they did not have education, they did not have scientific backing, they most only little bit of religion they had was pitter-patted annual revivals, or I mean whatever. It was very diverse in the sense that what you really needed in life was survival and the hope for tomorrow. And that allowed you to be blissfully ignorant on things. Like that term, ignorance is bliss, has lost its kind of grandeur because we no longer live in a time where ignorance becomes blissful, because now it is willful ignorance that remains in that state of thinking. What I mean by that is we literally have the world at our fingertips more often than not. I'm not saying there's plenty of distractions. By all means, there's a distraction for every vice, there's a distraction for every virtue. That being said, if someone is to embrace the ignorance mentality as being blissful and unaware, that is a choice now, and no longer a predicament or a happenstance cause. We are indoctrinated to believe that it exists still. However, as I just said, the world is at our fingertips. Not only is the world at our fingertips technologically, but it is within us spiritually. I've talked on this several times, like, you're not going to find greater truth than that which is within yourself. Seeking that inner light, seeking that inner spirituality. This is what allows you to break free from that woeful ignorance. Woeful being, it is a calamity on knowledge and thought and spirituality that someone still remains ignorant, one way or another. Now, being uneducated for whatever reason or means is in a way ignorant of certain structures. However, that does not mean that person is ignorant. I know that is a harsh word, especially today, because ignorance itself is meaning lacking knowledge of, or lacking the knowledge to obtain. Well, it's this illusion of being ignorant that allows for that lack of knowledge and constant distraction, which inseminates more division towards that ignorance. So it's hard for me to see, it's even hard for me to talk about, merely because it is so rampant among a given amount of people. And I'm not one to throw blame or cause or reason behind this. I'm merely objectively spectating to the amount of such things. I'm not even one to make up a solution to this problem. Not that it is a problem, but it very well can be. As we've seen in society and culture today, how it's breaking down so easily at the smallest inclination of false information or propaganda or even massive truth. All of these criteria lead to woeful disillusion equaling willful ignorance. And it's saddening. It's, I don't know. I really don't. It hurts to just witness it. So, a side tangent from this. How one researches is how one will perceive the knowledge that is given. And with that, we have this opportunity to change our perception. What I mean by that is being objective when you research, being objective when you seek answers. Too often, at times, humans, we latch on to our past memories and our past inclinations and our past troubles and use that as a stepping stone to learn how to fix them or learn how what we can do to better ourselves. When really that first step should accepting you are better and what you are seeking is already found. You just want to articulate it or you want to have a greater understanding. With that in mind, go forth in seeking that knowledge, not as a trial or as a task, but as a meaningful journey, as a wonderful respite from the monotonous drudgery of this mass ignorance that is revolving around us. And the biggest reason why I'm saying all of this is because there has been this massive awakening to the powers that lie within. And to me, I see that the alternative powers that are opposing to us in that regard are livid and desperate to subdue our inclinations of seeking that awakening in power. It's like I've said before on other podcasts, my podcast, and all this other stuff. If a king is only a king because of the crown he wears, why would he ever take away that symbol of power? Why would he ever release that crown? If when he does, every other man that stands amongst his presence is equal to him? Well, I mean, he wouldn't. Same thing that we see that is happening today. Those that wish to keep their power, those that wish to keep their riches, are fighting ferociously to keep it. A wounded animal backed into a corner is a deadly beast. We see that prevalently today. So at that time, a wise hunter would not pursue this animal into a corner, but track its markings as it bled out. Now, once the hunter found this animal and it was subdued, either to whatever factors it may be, you should give homage to the beast and the fact that it is given you clarity. Clarity of the hunt, clarity of purpose, clarity of the pursuit, clarity of life in general. Hunting is a very sacred art that's been turned into sport, but at the same time, there's still that clarity. It's like studying martial arts. Many folks get into it for the sport and gain a extra clarity to themselves and the way the arts have risen and the history behind them, culture behind them. Much is the same in research, science, and philosophy, and psychology. All of the governing principles of learning, we should have an appreciation for. We should seek and reverence that knowledge that we wish to obtain. We should accept in humility the knowledge that is given. And we should be grateful for the knowledge that we have received, known, and have had, and be grateful in the sense that it was already there. Without that precursor of knowledge, without that innate knowledge, without that thirst, that drive, what would we really be looking for? That in itself would be blissful ignorance, because you would be wandering. You would be wandering and wandering all at the same time, trying to just fit imagination into the material world, because the material is nothing but imaginary. That would be the pureness of blissful ignorance. Yet that is no longer here, because that is almost like that childlike mind, that everything is exploration, everything is new. Well, the evil in the world has started to indoctrinate and corrupt that imagination and corrupt that wonder. And this is where us as parents, us as guardians, us as teachers, leaders, whoever, have an obligation to show a new perspective, to show a greater perspective, to show that light in the darkness, but also the willingness to accept the darkness and bring it to light. What I mean by that is, go back to Carl Jung. we have to embrace the darkness in ourselves in order for us to become whole in mental health and physical health. If we reject those tendencies or those particular traits that really don't sit well with us morally or spiritually or mentally, emotionally, and we constantly put those on the back burner or back in our mind, well, you're placing them in your subconscious. And your subconscious mind, your subconscious brain, is basically what creates your conscious brain's reality. So if you're constantly putting pollution on the back burner in your subconscious so you don't deal with it consciously, you're forever going to be putting yourself in this feedback loop of polluting your environment. And that gets me on a new thing is you cannot have an intelligent organism outside of an intelligent environment. So if you constantly find yourself in a toxic environment, and what I mean by toxic, it could be anything that is outside the realms of establishing happiness in your life. And I'm not going to dig into that. That should be self-explanatory. You would not be able to heal the toxins in yourself if you're surrounded by a toxic environment. And there's that quote, the grass is greener on the other side. And I saw a rebuttal to that made me chuckle was start watering your own grass. Start fertilizing your own lawn. And I love that because just like how I say, let's grow that spirit tree, grow that tree, plant that seed, and let the roots dig deep. The only way you're able to allow yourself to grow is if you feed it the proper medicine, if you feed it the proper goodness, if you feed it the proper nutrients. That's mentally, that's spiritually, that's emotionally, that's environmentally, nutrition. I mean, what you put in your body will perform. What you put in your spirit will perform. What you put in your subconscious, your mentality will make it conscious. So, I know I'm kind of beating around the bush and beating a dead horse, but at the same time, to me, this seems redundant. But it is importantly apparent in the world that this is a idea that's hard to grasp. And then that in itself kind of is hurtful as well because we should, as a human race, all be on the same page of wishing to grow, wishing to mature that spiritual being that's inside of us, wishing to envelop that light spirit that's within and reach those higher planes of greatness and goodness. So, really, I just wanted to get across that when we seek, we should do it unfettered by what keeps us in this unsatisfied place. And by that, I mean, if we find ourselves unsatisfied, And then we look for means to improve that, but never be satisfied with the guidance that is given. How are we expecting ourselves to ever become satisfied? How should we expect a change in perspective if, when it's given, we're not mature enough to see that it has been given? And how should we expect to grow if we do not water and fertilize the seed that's within us? I'm not going to ramble. This is kind of going to be short and sweet. It's really just posing the question. And that's the biggest thing. Asking yourself those hard questions. Sometimes it does take that outside influence, that outside, hey, what is wrong? Talk to me. Whatever it may be, whatever the case is, individualism is a beautiful thing. But it is us as a whole, the entire human race, that will allow for that growth, for that ascending, for that greatness to become visible and realized in nature. That's a whole nother topic. We'll go across that another day. Really, I just want to put out that for us to grow, we have to allow it. For us to seek that knowledge and seek the truth in things, we should be able to first accept it. And then to further ourselves, we must release the hindrances that allow us to go forward. So, with that, like I said, I'm not going to do a super big ramble today. I really just want to place in your minds that we are happening as we choose to be. And we are in that source of knowledge that we wish to have. And it is abundantly available to us. Not only through technology now, but through inner spiritual findings, through higher spiritual guidance. So basically, if you are in need of any of these things, merely allow yourself to find that which you seek by accepting the guidance towards that goal, by releasing the hindrance keeping you from taking that step forward, and then allowing yourself to be where you wish to be. I'm going to get the music back going. Let's ground ourselves in that earthly energy, that earthly knowledge, the grandeur of nature and the beauty that lies all around us. Before we work on our breathing, getting deep within ourselves, I want you to hold that image in your mind of that greatest potential, that greatest being that is inside you, that person who you wish you could be in the grandest scheme of things, where everything was perfect. And with this meditation, realize that you are that being, cocooned in these the falsehoods of where we find ourselves. With this meditation, let's peel back that cocoon, allowing ourselves to embrace that perfect being, that spiritual enlightenment, that beauty within nature that each and every single one of us is, can be, and will be once in life. So, just ground our feet, get in touch back with that tree, and inside, we are the cocoon caterpillar. And as we breathe, centering yourself within this tree, in the womb of Mother Nature. We are given life, we are given purpose. In each breath, we are shrouded with that light and that love. As we continue this deep breathing, in your mind, picture that cocoon slowly starting to crack with each deep breath. As that light and love and peace begins to stir, making you whole, making you beautiful, realizing your perfection. That cocoon is drying, cracking, not able to withstand your brilliance. As you break free, sprout those wings of grandeur and awesome beauty. One of magnificence, one of perfection, one of love, brilliance, and abundance. You fly out from that tree, womb of Mother Nature, embracing all that the world is, astounded by your beauty, and turned by the beat of your wings. In motion through the vastness of all that is creation, knowing yourself to be within that creation, of that creation, and by that creation. You find yourself at peace, floating along the wind, blessed to be among the flowers, the clouds, the stars, and the canopy of night-lit sky. You find your presence wholesome, warm, encumbered with love, light, and peace. You find yourself in the magnificence of the universe, being one with all there is, all there will be, and all that was, now resides in you and the beat of wings. As we keep deep breathing, we soar into the heavens, those wings of magnificence, brilliance, abundance, the loving embrace of the Spirit falls over us, shrouds us in a cloak of peace. As we keep being here, being now, embracing the present as the gift that it is, this moment, we are all that we wish to be achieved. We are all that we wish ever was. With those wishes, we have found that love within. We have cultivated that seed of the Spirit, and it has grown to a magnificent forest, shrouded by light, love, peace, and life. The life that is all around us, within us, that connects between us all and everything. Embracing that connection with each breath, deep in our lungs, deep in our being. And as we exhale, we hold to that connection and bring it back center. Still breathing, still in awe, still in love, still at peace, embraced by that heavenly light, that Spirit within. And as we hold ourselves centered, let's open our hands, place them apart from one another. Put a little bit of that light in between our hands, holding it, molding it, as we have all those wishes throughout our life. Make this wish, that prayer, that love, that peace, that light, and send it to all those that need it. Send it to your loved ones. Send it to long distance friends. Send it to those that even you consider not worth it. Because I promise you, everyone does deserve that love. You included, and those around you. Save some for yourself, but as you do, give out that which is needed. One last deep breath in. smallest grain of sand, the tallest blade of grass, by every beat in a butterfly's wing, that love, that light, and that peace will be flowing throughout. I love y'all. Stay blessed, stay grounded.